Hi everybody, Miranda here. Hope you're doing okay. This is a video for those of you thinking about doing an apprenticeship. What I'm going to do is talk you through the different ways that you can find and hopefully gain an apprenticeship, because there's actually quite a few, and I know sometimes it can be a bit confusing. For starters, we're going to first of all look at the government website, their Find an Apprenticeship website, which is quite a good starting place. First of all, because most of the apprenticeships do get advertised on that website. Not all of them, but most of them. So it's a good place to start your search. It's also quite helpful because if you're not sure of the kind of apprenticeship that you want to do, you can at least see what's available at the moment. So let's have a look at it. So if we go to the government website, and you've got your Find an Apprenticeship page up, I'm just going to show you, if you scroll down a little bit, just beneath where it says search, you'll see that it says create an account, and I really recommend that you do that, because that way you'll get alerts for apprenticeships that are in the area that you're interested in. I'm just going to give you an example of how you might want to search for an apprenticeship. So if you click on the big search button in the middle, and then you get a page that comes up like this. So you can either do it how it is already looking, or if I'm just going to quickly show you, if you click on the browse button, and then you've got a range of different categories. So you might want to look at all the apprenticeships in, for example, leisure, travel and tourism, or education and training, or history, philosophy and theology. Make sure you put your area in, and then how far you're willing to travel, so within how many miles, and then which kind of level. If you're not sure about things like levels, make sure you watch my previous apprenticeship video, because it explains all of that. So I'm going to keep it quite open, because it's good to just see the range of apprenticeships that are available at the moment. So I'm actually not even going to put a keyword in. I'm putting in Brighton, and then I'm going to keep it quite broad. So I'm going to say up to 20 miles, and I'm also going to say all levels. This disability confident is a box you can tick if you would like to look at employers that are particularly welcoming of those of you who have disabilities. So if that applies, then you might want to tick that, but I'm going to leave it open for now. So if we search, you're going to get a number of opportunities up. When I'm doing this right now, there are 67. This changes daily, so that's the important thing to remember. So then you can see all of the different types of apprenticeships. If you click on the heading, then it'll give you lots more information. So this is a really good place to start your search and get an idea of the kinds of things that are available. One other thing I would recommend from this is you might find there's an employer on there. So for example, if you look at a particular opportunity, it usually says somewhere who the employer is. So it might be right underneath the name of the apprenticeship, or it might tell you once you look a little bit more in detail at it. You might think, well, I'm not interested in that particular apprenticeship, but I like the sound of that employer. You can always contact the employer and ask if they're potentially going to have other apprenticeships at any point in the near future. The second way that you can look for local apprenticeships is through looking at the training providers that are running apprenticeships in your local area. What I'm going to do this time is show you the Apprenticeships in Sussex website, so you can have a look at the training providers that operate across Sussex. If we go to Apprenticeships in Sussex, so you can see where it says training search, you have occupation, town, programme. What I would recommend is think about the sorts of areas that you're interested in. So let's say you want to look at bricklaying. You can put the town in, but if you're happy to go broader, then you can leave it open. But we're going to say training in Brighton and Hove, and then ask what programme, and we're going to keep it open again. And now we can see all of the different training providers that potentially might have opportunities or will run bricklaying related apprenticeships. You'll see here most of them are colleges, but that's going to give you an idea of who you might need to contact to see if they have bricklaying apprenticeships coming up in the near future, and you can do that for whatever industry that you're interested in. That's a really good way of just focusing your search. You'll also see at the top of the page they've actually got all of the training providers across the region listed there. So, you can just go through them individually as well, but that other way is a little bit more focused. Okay, the third way that you can search for apprenticeships is by looking specifically and directly at local employers in your area. Now, we're starting to get a little bit more advanced, I guess, in terms of the effort that you have to put in. It can also be the way that you end up with an apprenticeship that's really right for you. So these apprenticeships may already be advertised on the ways that we've already looked, but they might not be. So it is worth familiarising yourself with the kinds of employers that are in your local area that might be of interest to you, because they might offer apprenticeships, or they potentially could put one together for you, which we'll come to in a minute. At the end of the video, I'm going to put a list of examples, but I'm just going to show you one right now. A local employer that you could potentially look at would be your local council. So in Brighton and Hove, we're quite lucky because they have a dedicated page for apprenticeships. So when you go to that website, you'll see that it's got information on becoming an apprentice, employ an apprentice if you're an employer, apply for the apprenticeship levy transfer funding. You don't need to worry about these two bottom ones, but becoming an apprentice you might want to look at, but most importantly, find an apprenticeship. If you click on that, and then it'll go to view our apprenticeships at the actual council. At the moment, there's two up there. There's an IT one for a school, and a plumbing one for the council through their housing centre. So that's an example of a local employer. The other thing that you might want to look at, especially if you're a little bit older, is our national organisations, employers and their apprenticeship schemes. So I'm just going to give you an example of one of those. So EY's apprenticeship scheme is one that operates across the whole of the UK. If we go to their website, so when you get to their apprenticeship programme, it tells you a little bit about the programme and then the different types of apprenticeships that are available, and also that they offer degree apprenticeships, which means you get a degree as well as doing the apprenticeship, which is a really great route if you're interested. Have a really good look at that, and then it tells you a little bit about how you need to apply and things like that. There are lots of big organisations that offer apprenticeships. The thing to keep in mind is that you may well have to move, because quite a lot of them are not necessarily going to be based in Brighton or even in Sussex. So if that's something that you're not sure about doing at the moment, then you might want to just stick to the other ways of searching for apprenticeships. But if you're keen to go elsewhere, or you're happy to leave living at home or whatever, then it's a really good way of opening your options up. Okay, the fourth way for finding an apprenticeship is good old word of mouth. Quite a lot of young people that I speak to, when I ask them about apprenticeships, they say, oh, I'm going to get one with my dad or my uncle or my mum's friend, or mum's business or whatever. That's great if you can make that happen. Do be conscious of making sure it's an official apprenticeship, because if one of those people is just giving you some cash in hand and letting you work for them, that's not an apprenticeship. An apprenticeship requires you to complete certain knowledge and certain learning, and being able to demonstrate that learning to someone who's going to come and check that you're on track with the sort of things that you need to know in order to do that job. If you're unsure about whether it's really an apprenticeship or not, then please do speak to a careers advisor or contact us at Get Career Confident, because we'll be able to advise you. Asking around, asking your friends, your family, neighbours, anybody that you come into contact with, if they know of any apprenticeships that are happening with their employer, is a really good way of just seeing what's out there. And you never know, you might find something that is of real interest to you. So use your networks, your in-person networks, your social media networks. Put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, say, I'm looking for apprenticeship. Does anyone know any good ones that are happening right now? You never know what's going to come out. So try that route as well. And this is the thing, it's about doing all of these things, because one of them may be the answer. And if you don't try it, you'll never know. Last but not least, this is the fifth option. You can, in theory, create your own apprenticeship. So what that means is some of you may already be working for an employer. Maybe you have a part-time job, or if you're just about to leave school and you're 18, you might have started working already. Some employers might not yet have an apprenticeship scheme, but they might be interested in it. Employers actually get some funding, they get money to hire apprentices. So if they don't know that, they might not realise that it's actually a really good thing for them. So if you are, you know, getting a little bit of money but actually think you really like the job you're doing, you might want to bring it up with your boss and say, look, I think, you know, potentially I could do an apprenticeship here. Is that something you're interested in? And if they say yes, send them to the government website that we talked about in my first point, because there's information on there about what they would need to do, or get them to come to us and we can point them in the right direction. So hopefully this has been helpful for you. There, as you can see, are lots of different ways of getting an apprenticeship. It's just about trying different things and being aware that it might take a little bit more time. So make sure you've got a backup plan, be it if you're in year 11 at the moment, have a college place set up just in case. And if you're a little bit older and you're thinking about maybe university or working or self-employment, explore those avenues as well, because an apprenticeship isn't guaranteed, but then again, nothing is in life, so give it a go. Come to us for help. We are here to support you. Watch our video on how to actually make an application, whether it's for a position that's advertised or one that you need to do what's called a speculative application, where you write to them and ask if they've got something, an opportunity for you. So yeah, take care guys, see you soon.